Hi guys, and welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you how I transformed my boat's engine room into a magical, weird, dark fantasy makerspace. It involves a whole lot of 3D printing and scanning, a side quest where I basically redesign all my filming gear, and an unhealthy amount of moss, weirdly enough. But yeah, if any of that sounds like your cup of tea, stick around and follow me on this very weird workshop redesign. So I feel like I'm a bit of a hermit crab when it comes to my workspaces. Every few years I kind of get this itch that I need to cast off my shell and try something a bit different that suits my current vibe. In past years when I was developing my high-tech backpacking products, I create this kind of futuristic workshop in my kitchen. Then when I got into more heritage crafts, I built this cozy little camper van workshop to run my lesworking brand out of. Now that I've moved onto this narrowboat, I kind of asked myself, what's the next step? Well, obviously it was to create a fairy tale skirmish game where you made your miniatures out of twigs, right? So my current setup in here actually works really well, but I feel like it's just lacking a little bit of spice. I've already spent the weekend repainting this space, but I feel like it still needs something more. My idea is to bring the outdoors inside and create some decorative elements that I can wrap around my current storage, whilst also fixing one of the main issues I'm currently having in this space, filmmaking.
So I started off by taking my scanner out for a little adventure to try and find some cool trees and natural forms that I could use in my build. This is where the Ritual came into its own, as it's an all-in-one unit without the need for plugging into an external laptop, so I was able to take everything I needed to scan with me. I think they were designed for use on work sites for scanning large equipment in the field. I don't think they had this use case in mind when they designed it, but it works for me. When I was scanning the trees, I was just using the standard infrared scanning mode, but this scanner also has the ability to do high quality laser scanning, so I tried that out when I was scanning my workshop. To get this to work, you need to put markers down for the scanner to recognise, and this took a while, but it ended up giving me a really amazing scan that I could then use in conjunction with the tree scans to come up with a really interesting room layout. I used the program Nomad Sculpt to manipulate the scans to fit around my existing storage, blending the natural elements of the scans with the practical needs of my workspace. After a little bit of experimenting, I was getting really excited with how it was looking. Practically though, I wouldn't be able to print all of this in one piece, so I split up the model into multiple parts to fit on my printer. It was at this point that I realised how big of a project this was really going to be, and how many prints it was going to take. I also started feeling like it was a bit of a waste of plastic to make these things just for their aesthetics, and I realised they actually had a lot of real estate for extra tool storage, so I set about creating cutouts in the form to hold my most used tools. To do this, I took pictures of the tools I wanted to create slots for and got onto Fusion to create the negative cutouts I'd need. After importing them back into Nomad and repositioning them, I was able to cut them away from the tree form, and with that, it was ready for printing. For the large pieces with no cutouts, I used a 0.8mm nozzle with a single wall thickness and lightning infill. This massively reduced the print times from around 4 hours a piece to about 1 hour for most of the models. The cutout pieces needed more infill though, and these did take a lot longer and a lot more filament, but in the end they all came out great and looked so good once they'd been glued together.
So I am really happy with how this has come out, but you can see where I've glued the different parts together, and the layer lines are a little bit more pronounced than I'd like. So I'm kind of in two minds as to whether to fill all the gaps with filler and then try painting over it, or just keep it as it is. I'm hoping that with the correct lighting, the shadows will kind of hide a lot of this problem, but maybe that's just something to come back to later down the line. For now, I have another major issue I want to tackle: how I'm actually going to film in this space.
Currently, I've been mounting my camera and lighting gear using these base plates and adapters. I designed them to fit with this tripod, but being on the boat, it's very rare I ever use a tripod as I just don't have the floor space. The wall mounts, on the other hand, have been amazing. It's really quick to switch between them, but I'm limited by where the mounts are on the wall, and ideally I'd like a bit more flexibility with where I can place my camera. So I went back to the drawing board and came up with this. Instead of a single mounting point, I've created a modular rail system inspired by L-Track. The L-track system allows you to quickly attach at any point using a small spring-loaded mechanism, but its current design wouldn't really work being 3D printed, so I came up with this new mounting mechanism using a flexure and a twist lock. This mechanism works really well and can be printed without supports, and it also allows you to place lighting under the flexure using the plastic as a natural diffuser. This design solves my set lighting and camera mounting issues in one elegant product. All in all, I'm really happy with how this system is coming together, and I thought it'd be really cool to see if I could integrate it into the next tree section that I'm going to build. So let's get back into CAD. To begin with, I created a box in Fusion which had the same dimensions as my rail sections. I then imported these shapes into Nomad and used them to cut away a slot for my rail to fit in, just like I did previously for my tool storage. Once I was happy with my design, I exported it to my printer and another long session of printing commenced.
So once I printed and assembled this new massive section, I realised I had a bit of a conundrum on my hands. I mean, it looked really cool, but I also thought it could look a whole lot better if I filled in all the seams and painted the whole thing. The problem was I'd never done this before, and it could just make it look a whole lot worse, and I'd only really know if I tried. I'd already spent a whole week printing these pieces, and if it ended up looking rubbish, I really don't think I could justify printing it all again and wasting all that plastic. I know I should probably not take the risk and just move on, but in my eyes, it's better to try an idea and fail than to not try it at all. So I ended up pulling out the wall filler and paint anyway, and just got started. So I'm finally done, and I'm really happy with how it's all come out. Taking that little bit of extra time to fill and paint the tree sections really paid off, and the little bit of fake moss I added at the very end just added to the realism, I think. I'm also super happy with the new workflow that I've come up with, taking the organic models from the 3D scanner and integrating them with the precise solid models from Fusion. This combination of mechanical accuracy and organic surfacing has so much potential, and I feel like I've only just scratched the surface with this project. So I think the biggest win of this whole build project though is my new mounting system. This works so much better than I was expecting, as I've always had issues creating 3D printed spring mechanisms in the past. I think with a few more design tweaks, this could be a really usable design. But before I go making any more changes, I think I'm going to just live with the system for a while and see how it holds up in the long term. The one thing I was a little bit disappointed with though was the fairy lights, as I was really hoping that the flexure panels would diffuse the light a little bit more. But as you can see, the individual LEDs on the strips are still super obvious. I've used some fake plants from IKEA to hide the exposed strip lights, but I think in the future I'd like to replace them with a more diffused lighting solution. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video and it's given you guys some ideas of how you can update your own spaces using 3D printing and 3D scanning.
For anyone who's interested in the 3D printer and 3D scanner I use for this project, I'll leave a link down in the description along with any other relevant links that I think of.
But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember to get outside and get creating.